As I mentioned today, we're talking about Qgiv virtual events plus Bloomerang. We're very excited about this topic for today, and I'm very excited because our friends at Qgiv are really dedicated to building powerful fundraising tools that empower nonprofits to thrive and grow. Even in this time of the pandemic, we believe you can still thrive and grow. And joining us today is Abby Jarvis. Abby is the Nonprofit Education Manager at Qgiv. And fun fact about Abby, she is an amateur beekeeper and fairy tale writer. Thank you so much today. Thank you so much for joining us today, Abby.
Of course. I am really excited to be here. I am really interested in this topic. One, because I am in the nonprofit sector, and two, because I'm on the board for a local nonprofit here in my hometown. And I was just telling Diana that we, like many of you, had to reschedule our primary fundraising event. And we are looking at doing either an entirely virtual event this year, later in the fall, or a hybrid event. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about that today. I just want to make sure I have three monitors. That Diana, am I sharing the proper screen?
Yes, you are.
That's what we like to hear. Okay.
I
Okay.
know we have a lot of great content today, so please take it away.
Definitely. So I'm going to cover a few simple things. So I'm going to look at virtual events and kind of the state of things. We're going to look at some interesting ways that our nonprofits are using virtual events to connect with their donors and their supporters. I'm going to look with you at the Qgiv event system. Now, I'm going to say this. When I'm talking about events today, I'm talking about what we call standard events. And all that means is that these events don't have an auction or a peer-to-peer component to them. If you are interested in seeing the auction or peer-to-peer pieces, do let us know. I know we recently did another Bloomerang Academy that looked at peer-to-peer, and we have an upcoming no, I think that's backwards. We've looked at one of them before, and we're looking at the next one next month. So if you have questions specifically about the peer-to-peer or auctions events, do let us know and we'll get you in touch with the right people. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Bloomerang integration. I'm going to let you know what our pricing and support structure looks like, and we'll have time for Q&A at the end. So the question that I have been fielding a lot this year is, are virtual events really here, and are they going to be sticking around for a while, or is this kind of a passing fad? And the answer is, it looks like this is going to be the norm for a while. So I'm curious, would you drop a note in the chat box if you are planning on running a virtual event in 2021, or if you're running an event that has some in-person pieces, maybe some virtual components? Let me know what you're doing. Drop a note in the chat box. Because probably hybrid, someone says that's a good move. Yes, Amy's running one this month. My goodness, proud of you. This is a first time virtual event for someone else. Lots of different people chiming in saying that they are going to be running these virtual events, and you are not alone. So I just recently published a research paper at Qgiv, and it is called Navigating the Unknown. What we did was we looked at two groups of people. We looked at donors and we looked at nonprofits, and we asked them how 2020 affected their fundraising and what they're planning for 2021. So if you are still trying to suss out if you want to do things virtually, if you want to do a hybrid event, if you want to do things in person, here's what your peers are doing. We found that around a quarter of the nonprofits we interviewed were planning on doing only virtual events. We noticed that around half of them are including at least some virtual components. And only 3.5% of the nonprofits we polled were moving entirely back to in-person events. So if you are still kind of wondering, should we be planning virtual? Should we be going back in person? This is kind of a nice benchmark for you. Most organizations are doing at least some kind of virtual event, even if it's combining virtual and in-person. Now, I have heard some hesitancy from some nonprofits who are worried that their donors aren't going to participate in an event if it's held virtually. But if it helps, around a quarter of the donors we surveyed for this study said that they had participated in a fundraising event that was held virtually. So that 24% was around, we interviewed around 1,300 different donors, and around a quarter of them said that they were already accustomed to participating in these kinds of events. Now, we've noticed some interesting patterns when it comes to people participating in events virtually. The biggest and most interesting to me is that in-person events bring in a higher number of donations, but virtual events bring in larger donations. So if Vicki is running her auction and drive-through barbecue, the people who are giving at her event in person will give more donations. She may get 300 different transactions. Vicki, that is a total shot in the dark. I'm not saying that's what you're going to get. And maybe the average gift amount at her in-person event is $50. If she runs it virtually, she can expect to see a smaller number of transactions. So instead of 300, maybe she'll get 225, but the average gift amount will be bigger. So you can kind of feel out how your participants are going to want to interact with you and what you can expect from them. Another thing that we're hearing a lot is that a lot of nonprofits who added virtual events to their kind of fundraising calendars in 2020 are going to continue to offer those options even after the need for remote participation is gone. They have noted that they're able to reach a broader group of people. An example is a school that started putting their school recitals online, and they noticed that they saw an uptick in participation because the kids' grandparents and family members from outside their service area were tuning in and getting involved. This may also be something you want to consider based on your comfort level and your donor base with gathering in person. I know a lot of people are receiving vaccines, the vaccine rollout is happening, but a lot of people are still leery about getting together in big groups. They're more comfortable spaced out. So continuing to add these options, even if you have an in-person component like Vicki is, could be really helpful for you. It will help you engage more people, potentially outside of your service area, and it will also give you a way to make your event accessible to those who can't or don't want to attend an in-person event. So these are just some things to keep in mind as we look at virtual events. We have seen so many people get so creative with these virtual events. I wish I could share every example of an outstanding virtual event that our clients put together. I can't, I would keep you here all day. So these are just some examples of some of the cool in-person events we've seen. We've seen individual meetups for donor groups. So Urban Promise Charlotte raised a bunch of money at the beginning of the pandemic. They connected with individual donors and invited small groups of donors to private Zoom sessions where they were able to connect with each other, with nonprofit staff, and with some of the families that their donations helped. That went over very well. We have seen some really cool streaming concerts. People can buy tickets online, they get a link to a Zoom meeting, and then they can tune in and watch the concert that way. We've had family programming. This organization, the Jewish Federation of Northern New Jersey, put together a sing-along for kids. We've seen story time. We've seen one of my favorites. We saw a summer camp where parents could sign their kids up for summer camp online. It was all done remotely, and the kids built summer camp sites in their living room and then tuned in for all of the programming virtually. There are nearly endless options for ways to engage your donor base and your supporters through virtual events. So I would like to ask, as you're going through this with me, is to consider which events you have on your calendar and how you can translate them into a virtual component. That may be streaming. Live streaming video is one of the best things that has come out of this pandemic. Everyone is now very accustomed to it. We've seen people get creative with catering. So we've had some clients who put together an online version of their annual gala, and instead of having everything catered, they delivered food to their registrants. Get creative. I would love to see if you guys think of something cool, if you share it in the chat with your other attendees or with us. I'm very interested to see what you come up with. That all being said, I'm going to take you through the Qgiv event system and show you a little bit about what your participants will see when they log on to your Qgiv event. I'll show you how to set it up. And then I'll show you some of the cool customization tools that you can use to really engage the people that have signed up to participate in your event. So what I'm going to show you, I'm going to show you the whole system. And what we're going to look for is ways to build a really nice event page. We're going to look at how you can put together different packages and promo codes and early bird discounts and all of those neat little extras. I'm going to show you a little bit of how you can use this system to follow up with your guests and really get them engaged in your event. We're going to look at how you can track your success and how you can compare your events year over year. I'm going to show you a little bit of how we can reiterate and reinforce your event with some additional tools. I'm going to show you texting in particular. We're going to go over a little bit of how this all works with your Bloomerang account and how others have used it. And then, of course, you're going to be able to save some time on avoid data entry by using the Bloomerang integration. So let's get into it. I'm going to show you an event that I set up. Now, I'm going to preface this by saying I am not a particularly gifted designer. So if I can make this event look nice, so can you. And the first thing I want to do is really show you what your participants will experience as they register for a standard event that you're running through the Qgiv system. So I've set up a virtual art class. This is something that is another really wonderful event that translates nicely into a virtual component. This is something that we are actually seeing from arts organizations and really a lot of other organizations that are running classes. So whether or not you want to do it entirely virtual, whether you want to have an in-person class that is also being streamed online for people who want to join that way, this is a wonderful way to do it. So your donor is going to land on your event page. I'm going to click the register button and it will pull up the page that you've put together for your event. Now here, this shows that I'm logged in as an admin. Your donors won't see that obviously, but this is what they'll see down here. So you've got your title, you've got all of your event details. You let them know a little bit about your event. And then your donor or your participant can come down here and choose what they want to do. So you will set all of these up and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So I'm going to say, okay, I don't really have any oil pastels for this. I would like one box that will include all my art supplies. And then I'm going to make a night out of it. I'm going to get a little treat box. And now, because I am a member in this organization, I'm going to use a promo code that you've given me. And I'll show you how to do that in a second. So here's my promo code. Take $5 off my instruction, and then I just plug in my personal information, give you my payment information, make this BBB up, and then I'm going to register for the event. So here's where I land. This is my confirmation page. You can give me all of the details here. And then because I am registering for your event, I'll also receive the receipt that you set up. So I'm going to show you how to do this all. So now that you know what your donors are going to see, I'm going to show you how to set it up this way. What we're going to do is when you log into your Qgiv account, we're going to go over and find the right form. I have set up a form specifically for this event, and you're going to toggle over to the events page. And this is what you're going to see. So this is my virtual art class, Intro to Oil Pastels, and I have set up those packages that I mentioned a minute ago. So these are the basic settings. You can set an event image. So if you are I keep picking on Vicky, but it's because she's the one that responded most recently. So she's putting together a drive-through in-person barbecue. Maybe she'll have a cool picture of the barbecue setup or a delicious looking plate of food or a nice picture from the last time she put together this event, something that you really want people to latch onto and kind of take away an idea of what they're going to get out of your event. If you are having an in-person event with some digital components, you can add your information about the location here. So Vicky would drop in the location of her barbecue, and then that would be present on the page. Here, I've decided that I'm going to send out a Zoom link to my registrant. So instead of adding an address, I've dropped in this private Zoom link information here, and that will show up right here. I can turn this on so it shows a number of different places. I've made this available on mobile, which I highly recommend that you do. You set your start and end dates. This is all pretty standard. And then down here is where I want to point out, especially if you are choosing to do something like Zoom, or if you have a private page where people can log on and kind of see your event that way, your receipt is the best place to kind of share that. So down here, I've built a receipt, especially for this, this class. So I've dropped in some custom content. All of these little tags will populate with my registrant's information. And then down here, I've included a link to the Zoom information. So this is very easy. If you're using Zoom or GoToMeeting or another one of those streaming services, you can drop the meeting information directly in your receipt. We have seen some organizations do something really cool where they set up a specific page on their website exclusively for this event. It's private. So what they'll do there is drop a link to the private page instead. So I'm going to pick on someone else. So if Terry is putting together a virtual event, they want to create a page on their website. It's not in the navigation, so you can't get there unless you have a link. And they want to embed maybe a YouTube video where they're live streaming. You can watch along on the page, and maybe there's a donation form embedded on the same page. That would be a good option that you could do here. Just make sure you link to your virtual event somewhere in the receipt so people know where to go. Another thing that's really cool that you can do with this system is the packages that you put together. So everyone's going to be a little different. I'm going to pick up someone else. So Amy says that she is running a virtual event this month. So maybe she has, I don't know anything about Amy, I'm making this up. Maybe she is putting together a gala for animal shelter. She can include different options here for people to get involved, and each package includes different things. So for my art class, I have, say, this package. My participant can buy the class, and they can also buy an art supply box. The price for my participants is $50. Now, this is interesting. So make sure you've calculated your direct cost here. That has some implications when it comes to which part of your donor's transaction is considered tax deductible. That's also handy for tracking for you. If you would like to include an early bird discount, this is the way to do it. I'm interested. Do any of you struggle with getting people to register before the cutoff date? Just curious. Grab that in the chat box. I like the idea of using an early bird discount because we know that event participants tend to register right before the event, and that makes planning kind of hard. So if you include an early bird discount, even if it's something as minimal as like $2 or $3 off the cost of registration, you can encourage people to register a little earlier than they would otherwise. Oh, it says the chat is disabled. I'm sorry, Vicki. I'm very sorry that happened. I don't know why, but the Q&A box works, so I'm proud of you for finding that. You can, Vicki, if you want to interact, you can drop it in the Q&A box. You can, if you do this early bird, it's a way to kind of incentivize people to register early. It's easier for you to plan. It's easier for you to prepare, and you can encourage early registration that way. One thing that some of you may want to do is adjust the price if you have many people. Yes, early bird allows for additional communication opportunity follow-ups. That's absolutely true, and that's a really good point from Stephen. So I'll show you how to do that a little bit here in a minute. We're going to look at some communication opportunities and how you can reach out to your participant base before the event. One thing you can do here is adjust the price per package if people buy multiples. That's really popular with a lot of groups. So do a callback to my childhood. When I was going to church, you could buy tickets to go to Wednesday night dinner, and one ticket was like $4. But if you bought lots of tickets, if you had a big family, or if you were trying to incentivize people to bring their friends along, you can give them a discount if they buy extra tickets. So instead of $4, it could be $2.50. That's an option here. Once you've set up your package, you can save it, and you can do all kinds of different ones. Of course, this early bird is spent. You can do all kinds of different packages, including private packages. So if Stephen has a major donor, he wants to give them kind of a thank you gift, he can invite them to participate in one of these events at no cost. And in doing so, he can create a private package that has $0. He can send it individually to that donor. They can sign up, get registered, and they don't have to pay anything for it. So that's kind of handy. I did want to touch slightly on fields. So fields are just an opportunity to collect additional information from your event registrants. If you needed to ask if they have food allergies, so Vicky is doing her barbecue, she wants to know if you have food allergies so she can accommodate that. You can add that as a field. If you are putting together an event and event registration includes the cost of a t-shirt, you can ask people to let you know what t-shirt size they are, and that's how you would do that. I will say this. We know that people are less likely to complete a form if the form is very long. So if you can avoid adding a bunch of extra fields, I would encourage you to avoid doing so. So by all means, add fields that ask about food allergies, ask them to choose what entree they would like, ask them what size t-shirt they need. But if you are looking for additional information like demographic information, or you're asking folks how they heard about your event, this isn't the best place to get that additional information. It's always a better idea to follow up with them afterwards. So use fields, just focus on collecting the information that is necessary. Stephen asked, when you get a moment, can you speak to the one registration but fears that the link will be shared to friends who then don't have to pay? There is constant worry about folks that raise this issue. That is a wonderful point, and I will show you something to help you get around that. So we're gonna make this up. We're gonna call it the private package for Stephen. We're gonna make it private. I'm gonna say, Stephen has given me a great donation. I don't want him to have to pay for this, so we're gonna keep it at $0. Now here's where you can do it. So one person is covered in this package, and we can change the number of packages. So this, we're going to say that this is a unique package exclusively for Stephen. No one else can use it. If he shares the link, shame on you, but we don't want to let anyone else register. So what you can do is you can just put the number of packages available there as one. You can, well, this is for Stephen. And then once Stephen has accessed this package and signed up, the package is no longer available. So if Stephen sent it to his mom and it's like, hey mom, register for this, it's free, you can come with me, she won't be able to register because the number of packages that are available is already used up. So good point, Stephen. If you are putting together a special package for people, in this instance, you can set the limited number of packages, and after that, people will not be able to register into that package anymore. So good point, Stephen. Thank you for bringing that up. It's a really handy feature that I kind of lost in the shuffle. Another thing you can do if you want to incentivize people, and this would be a good opportunity for those people who a major donor maybe is getting a free registration fee, but you want them to bring their friends, you can give them a promo code. Setting up a promo code is very easy. So I'm going to do this. Stephen, I'm really sorry that I'm picking on you, but this one is for Stephen's friends. And we're going to say that anyone that Stephen brings can have a $10 discount. You can invite up to 5 friends with this code. And then you can say, Stephen, thank you for signing up with us. We'd love to participate with you. If you would like to invite your friends, use the code Stephen's Friends and you'll get $5 or $10 off. So that's a handy tool. It's also a really great way to engage some of your loyal supporters. So if you have, say, a really solid donor base of recurring donors, you can say, thank you for being a loyal donor. Because of your support, we've been able to thrive through COVID-19. Celebrate with us by signing up for this event. Here's a complimentary code for $10 off your registration. It's a really great way to kind of engage those donors, make them feel special, make them feel seen, and kind of give them a reward for their ongoing loyalty. The other thing you can do once you've started getting some people registered for your event is keep an eye on your event attendees here. There is always a need to engage folks before the event. And if you would like to reach out to them by email, it's very easy to come in here, pull a list of the people who have already signed up for your event, and then send them ongoing communications about what's going on, what to expect, and how to get involved. I also did want to point out one thing that I mentioned is text messages. So if you'll notice over here on the form, I've added a little note. This is, I would like to receive occasional updates about future art classes. And you can tweak the wording for that. But when someone opts into that, you can send them messages about your upcoming event. So what I've done over here is I've set up a text message, and really what it is it's an update about my oil pastels class. So what I can do here is set up this template, and it just says today's the day, the oil pastels class is coming up. If you haven't picked up your supplies, please do so. And then I can pull a list from that attendees table that I showed you, plug it in here, and then send a text message to all of the people who have registered for my event and remind them that it's coming up. There are so many cool things you can do with this event system. These are just this is a brief overview of everything you can do. So all this said, once you have all of this information set up, once people have registered for your event, you are ready to kind of update all of your information in Bloomerang. You can do that very easily with our integration. So this is just a really cool piece of insight from Bikes Not Bombs, which is a group that we work with, and they do this all the time. They have automatically set up data to move from Qgiv into Bloomerang, and they pointed out that setting up the integration has saved them hundreds of hours manually because they don't anymore have to kind of pull that event attendees report or table or however you wanted to access it and then manually upload it into Bloomerang. They've done that automatically now. So Mary just asked if you're only interested in using Qgiv for their text to donate feature, is that possible? Mary, yes, that is absolutely possible. I'll go over a little bit of that in a minute. And I also wanted to point out that if you are using Qgiv in any capacity, if you're using it for text to donate, if you're using it for auctions or peer-to-peer or any of the other offerings that we have, you automatically have access to this system. So this system, the standard event system, is part of our start package. And it is a standard feature that comes available with every Qgiv account. So it's $0 a month. You only pay the transaction fees. And that $0 a month for the start plan includes this event system that I just showed you. And then it includes all of these other features as well. And then if you wanted to get into the additional, so the text to donate feature, that's included in this monthly or this mobile suite package. I would also point out the data package. So if you are looking at kind of custom reporting situations, you need to be able to pull very specific information about your donors. You can do that. That is where all of our CRM integrations fall under. And then, of course, you can add on the peer-to-peer and options as you need them. And I was also going to point out, so say Mary wants to use a text to donate, the text to donate feature for an event that she's already putting together. She really only needs the text to donate feature for a month or so. She doesn't need it long term. Mary, you can upgrade to the mobile suite for a month or a quarter, and then downgrade if you don't need it anymore. So you don't have to pay for those features if you're not actively using them. So that's a really handy kind of feature that I think can be useful, especially if you are experimenting with some of these new event formats. You're not sure if you want to do it long term, you're not sure if you want to repeat it. You can try it. If it works for you, that's wonderful. And if you decide that it's not a good fit, you can just move back down to where you were and continue there. My button isn't working. Okay. There's also the Everything package. If you are just a power user and you have all kinds of events and you're doing a peer-to-peer event and an auction and a standard event and a regular donation form, you can do all of that in our Everything package. You have access to everything at all times. It is really handy. So I'm seeing a couple questions. Are you able to upgrade and downgrade in all packages? Yes, Katrin, you are. So there is, Brendan will have to correct me here if I'm wrong. So the only thing that we would caution you on as you are moving up and down packages is particularly the auctions package. So the auctions we know take a long time to set up and to kind of run well. So we do encourage you to give yourself 30 to 60 days of advance notice to put together an auction. That gives you time for training. It gives you time to get everything set up. But yes, you are able to upgrade and downgrade in all packages. And then Judy asked, how does your auction package work? I would need a little more information to answer specific questions about that, but the kind of the general way you would get it, you would add the auction package to your account. We would train you on how to set up an account. We would help you put together the event page. We would help you put together your auction items. We would help you get everything configured so your auction participants are able to interact with you well. The auctions package also includes two really cool options. So there's an app that is really handy for participating in person. So if your donors are gathered around in a big room full of auction tables, they can bid on their phones, which is super neat. It means they don't have to leave their conversation to go update their bid sheet or check on their bid sheet. There is also a desktop option. So if you are running a virtual auction and maybe your donors don't want to participate on their phone, they would rather just do it on their desktop, they can do that as well. So if you have additional questions about auctions, do get in touch with us. We can answer those for you and learn a little bit about your use case and what you're looking for and how we can help. So I threw some basics at you. If you have any questions about specifics in the Qgiv system, if you want me to show you how to do something, if you have extra questions about virtual events or how to run those or best practices, do let me know. I'm happy to show you anything.
Thanks so much, Abby. That was a lot of great information. And in case people were interested as well, we had an academy class on Qgiv's auction capabilities. So I'll put that link in the chat as well.
Okay, perfect. So I saw this question from Brittany. So she asked, if there is an admin registering multiple people for an event, what's the easiest way for the event information to be distributed to the attendees and their receipts? Brittany, that is a wonderful question. Let me show you something that you get. This is another feature that you get with your Qgiv account. So it's called the virtual terminal. And really what this is almost like a point of sale that you can use on your computer. So pretend I call Brittany and say, Brittany, I know your class is coming up. I'd really like to register for it. Can you help me out? So I'm going to pull up the form that I've built for this event, and I'm going to tell her, okay, I'm going to register for this. She'll ask me, do I need the supplies box or not? And I'll tell her, yes, I would like one supply box. I would like one treat box. And then I also want to use that promo code that you included. And then what Brittany can do is she'll say, okay, Abby, like I'll get you all registered. Can you tell me what email address you would like me to send a receipt to? I'll give her my personal email address. She can add notes here. So if I'm trying to think of what transaction notes you would want to add here. I can't think of anything creative right now because I'm on the spot, but you can add notes here if you need to. And then you can either take her credit card information over the phone, say I want to pay cash, she can do that. I can also give you a check. You can process this registration, pretend that you put all the correct information in here, which I didn't. She can process the registration, and then I will automatically get the receipt with the Zoom link and everything else in my personal email address. So that way is very neat. So you don't have to you don't have to send yourself all of those receipts and everything. You can send it out to your participants that way. I have a really terrible internet connection right now, so it's one of the beautiful upsides of working from home. I'm sharing my bandwidth with my husband. But another thing you can do, if you say you're like me and you lose emails all the time, if I email Brittany and I say, "Hey Brittany, I know I registered for this event. I can't find the email anymore. Will you resend it to me?" You can do that in the system as well. You can just pull up that donor in your attendees list and then hit the button to resend that email. Let's see. I'm new to Bloomerang. How is Qgiv related to Bloomerang? Are any of these event items available in the Bloomerang software? I will let someone else speak to events in the Bloomerang system. Qgiv is related to Bloomerang in that we think Bloomerang is neat. They think we're okay too, and we have decided to work together. So Qgiv specializes in the online fundraising side of things. We don't have a CRM. What we do instead is we integrate with CRMs that do a really great job with helping nonprofits kind of connect with and retain and engage their constituents. So what will happen if you're using Qgiv and Bloomerang is you can set up that integration, and all of the information from Qgiv will move over into your Bloomerang account, and we'll update your constituents in Bloomerang. So if I'm picking on what Katrin now is at the top of my list. So say Katrin is one of your donors. She comes on to Qgiv. She signs up for this virtual event. Automatically, you can update Katrin's profile in Bloomerang with her information about her transaction from Qgiv. So that's kind of roughly how it works. Diana or someone else, do you want to speak to the Bloomerang side of things here?
Sure. Thanks, Abby. And thanks, Pam, for the question. So, as Abby mentioned, Bloomerang has a wonderful relationship with Qgiv. Bloomerang does have an event registration software, but it's a little bit limited. I can send documentation for that. Now, if that works for you, some limitations are there isn't a shopping cart feature and it's limited to paid events. We don't have peer-to-peer capabilities and some of the stuff that Abby showed us today. So if you if you have very simple needs to be able to take in paid registrations, Bloomerang's built-in event registration tool might work for you. But if you need a more robust tool, then you can use the Qgiv integration and trust that you can map the information that's coming in from Qgiv into Bloomerang. So everything that's captured in on your Qgiv forms, that can feed into your Bloomerang database, and you can see that in context with everything else that you have with the constituent. Thanks for that question.
Definitely. That was really great, Pam. Thank you. So Brittany asked, can you alter a person's email address after they register with it to resend the receipt? And the answer is yes. I have gotten very good at this because my personal email address has a double L in it. Everyone forgets the double L. So what you can do is you can go, if you didn't see how I got here. So I've gone to my form, I've gone into events, I find the event that my constituent has registered for, and I go over to the attendees table. There are other ways to access this. This is just how I prefer to do it. So say I never got my email because I made a typo. You can click on this and you can see the transaction details for the registration that you need to edit. Now, what you can do is you can go over to the recent email receipt if they've lost it, like me, or what you can do is you can edit this. Oh, no. Here it is. You can edit their personal information. So say I sent this to my personal email address. I would really prefer you to send it to my work address. I can update the email address here, save that personal information, and then resend the email receipt, and it will go to the proper email address this time. So if you do have an organization that, or a donor that wants to or get their email again, or if they made a typo, you can always go in and edit it this way. Are there any additional questions? Can you still download donor transaction information into one CSV file and import into Bloomerang? Someone else who I believe you can do that. Diana, do you want to speak to that question?
Sure. So we should clarify here. If you are using the Qgiv integration, you don't need to do an export from Qgiv and then import into Bloomerang. That information can flow seamlessly. That's why, that's the benefit of that native integration. Now, if you are using another event platform, you can definitely, if you can get an export from that platform of the information that you need, you can import that into Bloomerang. When you do import into Bloomerang, you just want to make sure that one, you have all of the required fields that you need, and two, you have enough matching information in your file so that you don't accidentally create duplicate constituents in your Bloomerang database. So if you're using the Qgiv integration, that connection is automatic, so that information will flow seamlessly from Qgiv into Bloomerang. If you are using another event platform, you can definitely import that information from that platform into Bloomerang.
Perfect. All right. So, if barring any other questions, I did want to let you all know that if you have any questions, if you would like to see any of these features more in detail, if you even just want to bounce ideas off of someone and see if we can support you with your upcoming virtual or hybrid event, do let us know. This is how to get a hold of us. We're happy to answer questions. You can tweet at us, you can send me an email, you can do whatever you need to do. We're here to help. Oh, Stephen asked, can you speak to Qgiv's customer service, etc.? Yes. So I will say this, working for Qgiv has kind of ruined other people's customer services for me, because I know our group is very intentional about answering the phone live. So if you call us, you won't have to dial through any wacky systems. You will immediately talk to a person. You can see on our website a live feed of how our customers are rating their customer experience. So if they submit tickets, you can see how they've rated the response to those tickets. If you go look, you can also see how we fall in terms of our NPS score. So the likelihood that our clients will recommend us to others. We do try to be very transparent about what our customers think of us. And I know that everyone says that their customer experience is wonderful. So you don't have to take my word for it. You can go online and look. I will say, to kind of toot our own horn, that the customer experience team did win an award this year for being great. So check me out. So double check me. Go call them and see what happens. Mary asked, can you show how the text to donate feature works? Yes. Do we have time, Diana?
We have about 10 minutes.
Okay. So, Mary, what I can do is show you just a really basic one. So, I'm trying to think of the thing I'll set up. Let me look for something really quickly. Actually, I take that back. I set up, so I don't have anything set up right now that would kind of do justice to the system, Mary, but if you'd like to get in touch with us, I can get you in touch with someone who does know or who can set that up for you. What I will tell you is this, it's very simple. So what you can do is set up a keyword. Let's see, text. What you can do is set up a keyword. So I'm going to say my keyword, because I'm running a pastels class, is just pastels 21. You would text pastels 21 to the short code. Your donor would get back a link that says, click here to finish your donation. It will take you to a very simple form where you can plug in your information, your payment information, and finish the donation that way. It's a little more involved than the more traditional in air quotes, the traditional styles of text fundraising where you just text a keyword and that fee is appended to your phone bill. The difference is that with this method where you are texting to donate and you finish your gift on a form,
I think we lost Abby there momentarily. Hopefully she'll come back soon.
You get that money much more.
Abby, we lost you there for a moment.
I know, I'm so sorry. What a bummer. Where did I freeze up?
I was distracted because I was typing in the chat that we also had a class.
Oh yeah.
On text fundraising with Bloomerang and Qgiv, and I put that link in the chat.
Brendan, do check that out. So the texting is a really great tool, especially for these virtual events. So if you have an event and your keynote speaker is kind of streaming their address, they can say, if you would like to support this wonderful work, text, I don't know, Bloomerang to 50155, and then they'll get a text back asking them to finish their gift. It's very handy. It only takes donors a minute. And the average, so this is actually really cool. The average text donation, the last time we checked over the 12 months, was over $100. So texting is an absolutely wonderful feature to use to enhance your event. We can tell you more and show you more about how it works when you have someone who is like already set up to accommodate that. I would do it for you and set it up now, but I don't want to use it all. Everyone's valuable time. Do Facebook fundraisers work with this? So not elegantly is the answer here. So there are instances, particularly with the Qgiv peer-to-peer system, where we do work more seamlessly with Facebook fundraisers. Facebook fundraisers really only takes donations, not event registrations. So this wouldn't be an ideal situation to run a Facebook fundraiser. You can certainly run them. It just wouldn't necessarily work seamlessly with a virtual event. What you could do if you were running a virtual event and you were kind of doing some live streaming or something like that, you could invite people to set up Facebook fundraisers to benefit your organization, but it doesn't really integrate well here. What you could do, in addition to that, if you wanted to use Facebook, if you have a donor base that's very active on Facebook, you could set up a Facebook event and include a link to your online registration form. And that way, people who prefer to interact with you on Facebook will see that your event is coming up and then have an easy way to access your registration page. So if you're looking to use Facebook, I would encourage you to look into that. And then if you have any questions about Facebook Fundraiser and its integrations with our peer-to-peer platform, we would love to show you how that works and what it looks like. Not elegantly. Yeah. Facebook Fundraisers is a beautiful, wonderful tool that a lot of people are using very well. But I do know that a lot of nonprofits really struggle with integrating that into all of the other things that they're doing. Just another fun thing for us to work around in the nonprofit industry.
I love what you said too, Abby, about you don't necessarily have to do the fundraiser on Facebook itself. You can promote your events and your fundraisers on Facebook and just link out to the form. I think that still gets the word out, even if you're not doing the fundraising on Facebook itself.
Absolutely. And if you're really feeling fancy and you don't need people to register for your event to see the video portion of your event, what you can do is use Facebook's live streaming tool, just stream your event and then encourage people to get involved other ways. So I wouldn't do that if you were doing something like an art class. You want people to pay for that class. You want them to get the private Zoom link. You don't want to make it available to everyone. But if you're doing like a concert and that's part of your bigger event, you can live stream the concert aspect of it and then ask people to register for additional events or get involved other ways. So lots of different room or opportunities for creativity here. Can the promotion codes be created in Bloomerang or is it only available through the Qgiv platform? Diana, do you want to speak to that?
Yes, so if you are going to be using Bloomerang's built-in event registration form, that does not support promotion codes.
Okay. Perfect. And then let's see. I thought I saw another question, but I think I got it. But yeah, I did want to reiterate, if any of you have additional questions or want to see any of this, do let me know. I won't, if I can't answer the question for you properly, I will get you to someone who can.
Absolutely. And while we're on the topic, I'm going to launch a poll right now. If you would like someone to follow up with you about connecting your Bloomerang database and Qgiv, do let us know in the chat on the poll. You don't have to, but if you would like more information about what you saw today or about the other features that we talked about, text fundraising, peer-to-peer, we have peer-to-peer actually coming up, let us know. And in the meantime, thank you so much for joining us today. Abby or Brendan or Kimberly, any last thoughts for our friends who are joining us today about virtual events?
I'll say this. If you are running a virtual event for the first time, or even if you've done it for a little while, I've talked to a lot of folks who experience some trepidation. They want everything to be perfect, especially if this is an event that they have run before. And I'm going to tell you this. Your donors are gracious people. It is okay if you make a mistake. It's okay if you have to resend someone the receipt. It's okay if the Zoom link isn't accurate the first time. Just explain to your constituents what's going on. They're going to be patient with you. They're going to work with you. There is a lot of grace right now because all of us are trying to do things that we've never done before. So whether or not you're using Qgiv, experiment and have fun and just communicate with your donors, and they will be gracious with you and support you in what you're doing.
Love that. We all could use some more grace, and we all could give some more grace as well. So that's absolutely perfect. Thank you so much, Abby. And thank you everyone for joining us today. I hope this has been an informative session for you. Again, if you have additional questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. If you have questions that you didn't think about today, but think about later, our doors are always open and we love getting questions from you all. So please let us know. In the meantime, we hope you have a great rest of your day, and we hope to see you in more of our Academy classes soon. Have a lovely day. Bye.
Everyone.